Hi, you guys. I'm really sorry about my voice, but before I left for the weekend, I wanted to make sure that I had a video posted that would help you with the extra practice that you need to be able to redo your quiz. So, the first question that a lot of students were missing, question number 1, looked something like this. If we have a negative 5x and we combine that with a 5x, a positive, and then a negative 10, we need to first recognize that these are like terms. And when you combine like terms, the way that you do that is you keep the variable term the same. So because these both have an x, we would keep that x the same. And then we just combine the coefficients. And if we combine a negative 5 with a positive 5, we get a 0. But instead of writing 0x, we know that 0 times x is actually just 0. So we take the 0, we combine it with the negative 10, and our final answer would just be a negative 10. Okay. Another question that I had a lot of students missing on the test today was the one where it asked you to simplify and you had fraction coefficients. So these two terms right here, these are like terms because they both have a y to the first power, and when you combine like terms, you keep the variable and then you just add the coefficients. The coefficient of this term is 3/4 and the coefficient of this term is a positive 1/8. So in your calculator, you just do 3/4 and then you do a positive 1/8. So you're going to add those together and you get a 7/8. Should be 7/8 times by y. There were a few of you today that had a question that where one of your fractions was positive and the other one was negative. And so in this case, we're going to do the same thing because these are like terms and they both have a b. The variable will stay a b. And then we need to combine these coefficients. So we need to combine a 1/2 with a negative 2/7. And so in the calculator, the way that you do that is you do 1/2 and then you do plus a negative 2/7, and that would be 3/14. So on Alex, you're going to write that as 3/14 as a fraction, and then the b goes right next to that. Okay. Another question I wanted to do with you is this one right here where it says simplify. Anytime you have a number right next to a parenthesis and you have more than one term inside your parenthesis, because there is implied multiplication in math when you have a number right next to a parenthesis, we have to multiply both the 2v and the negative 6v. This is a negative 6v because there's a minus sign in front of it, so we need to treat it as a negative 6v. We need to multiply both of those terms by the 2 that's out front. So 2 times v is 4v, 2 times negative 6 is negative 12, and then we have our negative 7v. So after we distribute, our next step is to combine like terms. So 4v and negative 7v, those are like terms. And when I combine a 4 with a negative 7, I get a negative 3. And then remember, the variable just stays the same. So negative 3v, and then we have a negative 12. Okay. For this next one, the thing that I wanted you to recognize on this next one is that you have a subtraction sign in front of your parenthesis. And anytime you have a subtraction sign in front of your parenthesis, the thing that that does is it changes the signs of both of the terms inside your parenthesis. So because this u is positive, we're going to change it to a negative. And because this 4 is positive, we're going to change it to a negative. Okay? So once we distribute this right here, once we distribute that negative, this whole thing is gone. It became the negative 1u, and then a negative 4. It's negative 1u and negative 4. So now we also need to distribute this 5. Notice there's an addition sign in between those. So 5 times 4 is 20u, and then 5 times a negative 3. Notice this subtraction sign in front of this 3, which makes that negative, and so that would be a negative 15. Okay, now last step is to combine like terms. We take this negative 1u we combine it with the positive 20u, and that gives us a 19u. And then we take the negative 4, we combine that with the negative 15, and a negative 4 plus a negative 15 is a negative 19. Okay, the final answer, 19u and a negative 19. Okay, last one, we would start with distributing the 6. So 6 times 3y is 18y. And then this is 6 times by a negative 1z. So 6 times a negative 1z is a negative 6z. Now the next one you have to be careful with, because the thing that is right in front of the second parentheses is a negative 4. That term is a negative 4. So when you distribute this negative 4, you have to remember this is a negative 5z and this is a negative 6y. So negative 4 times negative 5z is positive 20z, and negative 4 times by a negative 6y is a positive 24y. And now we just combine our like terms. So 18y and 24y is 42y. And then we have a 6z and a positive 20z, and that is going to be a positive 4z. So our final answer is 42y plus 14z. So I hope this was helpful. You guys have a practice assignment to do on ALEKS that is called Simplifying Expressions Test. Retake extra practice. So after you watch this video, go ahead and do that extra practice, and then you'll be able to retake your test next week. Have a good weekend.